So we're just about ready to edit our clips inside of the project timeline, but I would like to revisit our discussion about the power of markers and how we can use them inside of our projects. I'm going to grab our first interview clip with BD here, and I'm just going to play some parts of this clip to get an idea of where we can add markers inside of our project timeline. So I'm going to play this.
BD Douch, and I have Earth Trine Farm, and we've got about 10 acres in Ojai and 5 acres in Carpinteria that we're farming on. It's all certified organic by CCOF.
I just want to show you how easy it is to add markers to be able to use for placement and to be able to use for taking notes and chapters. So let's add them now. So let's find a spot where he's introducing the farm, and maybe this could be a place where we could add a marker where we can add some B-roll of maybe some scenic shots of the farm. So let's add a marker in the very beginning here, and by doing that, all you have to do is press your M key. So I'm going to press M, and now it's created a marker, but be careful. If you've noticed, it created a marker where my mouse playhead was. Just because your playhead is in the beginning of a clip, it really depends on where your mouse is. So for instance, I can add markers wherever my mouse is. So if you would like a marker in the beginning of the clip, make sure that your mouse is there as well. So now I have a marker by hitting my M key in the beginning of the clip. Okay, so when he's introducing himself,
Acres in Carpinteria.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay, my name is BD Douch, and I have Earth Trine Farm, and we've got about 10 acres.
So what we could do for this first clip is we could have a shot of BD. Maybe we get a wide shot of him walking in the distance so that you get a glimpse of the farm and BD. So what I can do is I have this marker set up here, and I'm going to double click on it. And what's going to happen is it's going to bring up a window that allows me to do a few things. First, I want to name this marker. So let's do wide shot of BD. And this will tell us, okay, this is a good idea, to add a wide shot of BD, from the distance on his farm. So I'm going to play this a little bit more.
Okay, my name is BD Douch, and I have Earth Trine Farm, and we've got about 10 acres in
So perfect. So right here, he's describing the farm a little bit more. So I would probably want to maybe add a marker here to remind me to add a shot of, for instance, we have one right here where we have tree to mountain pan. This could be a very good shot that we could use to just show how scenic it is on the farm. So I'm going to hit M to add a marker here. And let's just type in scenic shot of farm. So as you notice, we've added 2 markers here so far, and every time we open up the marker by double clicking, and you can also, if your playhead is over it with the mouse, you can hit M, and that'll bring up the window menu as well. So you can either double click or click M if your playhead is over it. Now that we've named these shots, I want to just mention about what each one of these categories, these tabs, do. So for instance, our standard one is just a standard marker. Okay, and that allows us to just name these markers, but we also have what's called is to-do marker. And what's cool when you first select a to-do marker is it is colored red. And this tells us, okay, we have something that we need to do here. And this is great because it reminds me to make sure that I don't forget to do something in this specific spot. So then when I do complete this task, this to-do, I can then double click and then check completed. And as soon as I do that, it turns green. And I can go back also and say, you know what, I didn't complete this. I'm going to change this. And it's back to red again. For this clip, if I want a scenic clip, let's find a scenic clip of the farm here. And let's see, this is a pretty cool clip, but maybe a panning shot as well. Here we go. This is a great clip, an even better clip of the fields of the farm. So let's say I want to add this clip. Well, what's nice is if we have snapping turned on, remember snapping allows us to snap our clips and our playhead to clips and markers. So our playhead and our mouse snaps to markers as well. So if I drag this clip down, I don't have to line anything up. If I know that this marker is at the exact spot, I can just drag this clip down, and if you notice, with snapping on, it will snap to that marker. Another really great thing about it is if I want to move my playhead to that marker, it'll snap to it. If I hit Q, it'll automatically do it on that marker. And then there we go. We have that connected. Now, to-do lists are great, and I really like using them, but just regular standard markers are great as well. And they act kind of the same way as to-do, but they just don't change color and we can't complete them. So if we want to do anything with these, we can either leave them there or we can delete them. But as you see, I right-click on the marker, and not only if I double-click, it'll open up a menu, but even quicker, I can right-click and I can quickly change and modify these markers. I can change what they are, and I can also modify them as well. So it's really a great feature, and I really like them as well. All right, so now we have a list of markers to go through. And markers are great not only to act as reminders, but also as placement tools as well. So if we think hypothetically, if this clip here, let's say this is our movie and it's 3 hours long, markers can be very great to skip to a specific spot of a project a lot quicker. And how to do all of this and complete our marker task as well is a little tab on the bottom here that acts as a timeline index. And what this does is when we click on this, it gives us a couple things to choose from. Okay, I'm just going to zoom a little bit out with my project timeline, and I'm going to add a couple miscellaneous shots here on our project here, just to add them quickly. And now, as you can see, as I'm adding these clips here, our project's getting bigger. And in our timeline index, if we have it set to clips, you can see all of the clips that you add inside of this index. And what's really nice is you can actually skip to them very quickly without having to scroll through your project, especially if your project is very large. You could scroll quite a bit. So this allows us to quickly skip around, especially if you've named them correctly and you know exactly where to find. Okay, I have my BD interview 1, so I can select that, and my playhead jumps straight to that. But let's say we want to go to our John interview all the way to the end of our project. We can easily click on this, and it'll snap to our John interview. So basically what the clips view of our timeline index allows us to do is see every single one of our clips inside of our project timeline. So not only is it able to help us find clips better, but it's allowing us to stay a little bit organized by being able to search for something as well. So we can go through and just skip through these clips, and that is awesome. Not only does the timeline index help with clips, but it also helps with tags and markers. So if I select my tags markers feature here, not only does it show our keyword collections, so we can snap to keyword collections, such as this BD interview, because this was a keyword collection for our farm introduction, but it also shows us our markers. And if I zoom in a little bit, now we can jump to specific markers. So while we're placing our interviews down, we can create markers to remind us to add a shot on this specific part. So as you're playing your interview, you might say, oh, you know what? I definitely want a shot of the farm on this section right here. So you can either add a standard marker or you can add a to-do marker, and everything shows up in your index. And if you click on each one, your mouse, your playhead, will then snap to each of those markers. So what's really neat about this, if you leave this open, what's great is now if you're done with your project with laying your interviews down, now you can go through and see, okay, I'm just going to make this a little wider. Okay, I need a wide shot of BD for right here. I do not want to forget that. Now you can just go through, scan your B-roll, and let's find a wide shot of BD up here. Here we go. Here's a wide shot of BD, and then just hit Q, and it will snap to that marker. So what's really nice is you don't even have to touch inside of your project timeline with your mouse. You could just select in your project your timeline index, and your playhead automatically snaps to that marker. Then if you want to add a scenic shot that it was located over here, you just select scenic shot of farm, And now you can find that scenic shot that you had that we really liked. And here it is. I can select it, and our playhead is already on that marker. Select Q. So now we don't need to worry about having to line up our mouse and our playhead directly on a specific spot of the timeline. We can actually do a lot of our editing within the timeline index just by selecting specific markers and clips. And obviously this clip is very long. We can pull this back. And now we can go into our next shot here. Maybe we want this clip to go on to this marker here. So now I can go to Scenic Shot 2, and now it's snapped to this spot. So now I can grab another shot here. Let's Fields Panned, and I'll press Q, and now it's connected to this marker. So as you see, the power of markers is pretty awesome, and it allows us to not have to worry so much about, oh man, I have to really zoom in here and get precise on this spot. Yeah, of course you can run your playhead over, and that's easy as well because it snaps to the markers. But as you notice, your timeline index updates as well. So maybe I want a specific shot for BD walking near the trees, which would be this marker. Click on this, and now I can find a shot of BD doing something with the trees. And I can grab this and select Q, or if I want it to be, a specific spot in the clip, select I, and then O. Now I have an in point and out point range, and now I can select Q, and it'll automatically connect it to my primary storyline. And there it is. And you are all set using markers. So as a reminder, you can use these to-do markers to remind you of an incompleted task. And once you've completed them, once you've added the shot, you can click on this little red box here, and it updates to green. And then you have those as well. And since we've added the wide shot of BD over here, I'm going to select this as green as well. And you can go back to these anytime and make them red again if you want to revisit them. It's really cool feature of Final Cut Pro, and I use this a lot, especially as I'm going through my interviews and I'm spending all the time editing my interviews inside of my timeline. It allows me to have a chance to remind myself, you know what, I'm going to put a shot here. Add a marker with M, double click, give it a name, add orange tree, and then update it with done, and there it is. It's in our timeline index. So hopefully markers can work and be as powerful for you as well.